Hello, Plaza students, and Mr. Mo here. Forgot my name for a second. We are going to learn how to make a scary type movie poster today. You may have learned how to do the movie poster where you blend some images. Now we're just going to do one where we take one image and we just kind of mess with it a bunch to make it look maybe a little scary or more like a movie poster. So this looks kind of like a normal house. It's a little wide, so I want to edit the house. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to crop it, which is right over here. You guys should know how to crop things from, elementary school. This shouldn't be anything new. You just kind of resize the picture. So I'm going to come in here to about the edge of the house there. And then over here, you can see some cars over here, which are not very cool. So I might come into here. And normally this is what I would do because then the house is centered in the picture and it looks great. But I'm going to come out just a little bit. And the reason I'm going to come out a little bit is because I like this tree. I think that tree's kind of adds some spooky to the whole picture. So I'm going to leave that in there. Normally, I guess I'm going to press enter now to finish that. Normally what I probably should have done is maybe found a better picture with some trees and the house in it. But I wanted to take a house that wasn't necessarily really scary looking and make it a little bit scarier. So now that I've got the picture the way I want, I am going to hit Control J to make two copies of the picture. So I also could have gone to Layer, Duplicate Layer to do that, but I chose to just hit Control J. Okay, and so now what I'm going to do with my top layer is I'm going to come up here to Filter, and I'm going to go to Other, and I'm going to go to High Pass. And I want it to be at about 8, so that's perfect that it's already there. You can kind of mess with this and see what it does. It kind of gives your picture, a different look, a kind of cool look. So I'm going to leave mine at 8, okay? And looking at this picture here, right, you're like, okay, now you totally can't see it. So what I'm going to do over here is I'm going to come to my blending mode, and I'm going to go to Overlay, so where it's laid over the top of my photo. Okay, so that's what I've done now, and now what I want to do is I want to add some black type smoke stuff around my layer. And there's a tool here called the burn tool that you can use. I like using just the brush, and you can see kind of what the burn tool does. It just kind of slowly burns the photo. That's not what I want to do, so I'm going to do Control Alt Z to get rid of that burn. Okay, and I'm just going to come up here to my brush. And I'm just going to use, as you can see, there's all kinds of cool things you can do with the brush, but we'll talk about that later. I'm just going to use a regular brush to kind of do this, and I'm not going to use the hard one. I'm going to use kind of the soft one, and I'm going to come around the edges of the house and kind of come up here to the tree. You kind of want to keep it even. And what I mean by even is if I want to be symmetric around the edges. So if I come this high there, I kind of want to keep it this high here and come in a little something like that. I'm not going to take forever doing this because you get the point. This is kind of a preference thing based on what you think looks cool and so forth. So there's my smoke type stuff around the edges. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit Control L, and I'm going to mess with some of the levels of my photo. I'm just going to put this, see what 17 looks like. Okay, and what that's doing is it's adding more contrast to the photo. You might notice that my smoke got a little darker. The house kind of pops out a little bit more. You can play with those levels if you're thinking you want something different. Okay, so now that I've done that, I want to link my two layers together. So I'm going to click on that layer, and then I'm going to hold Control and click this other layer and come down here to this little chain. It's a chain link. Get it? Ha ha ha. And so hopefully you can see that. Maybe you can't see that. So just in case you can't, I'm going to lower it. It's this little chain link down here. Okay? And so I'm going to click link, and now you're going to see these appear up here because those layers are now linked together. And now what I'm going to do is right click those, and I'm going to merge them. So I've now merged those layers together, okay? Now what I am going to do is I'm going to create, so now I'm going to have to mess with this up here. I'm going to go to File, New, and I'm going to create kind of my poster background. Okay, so I'm going to want this to be in inches, and I'm going to make it 6.5 by 10. So I'm going to make it 6.5 by 10. I'll leave the resolution at 300. We can, I mean, it doesn't really matter what you put here because we're going to be changing it. We can leave it at white, and then I'll show you kind of how to change it. So now I've got my big white background. I'm going to come here and go to the rectangular marquee tool, and I'm just going to highlight the entire thing, and I'm going to come get my paint can and make it black. So I dump my paint can on there because I want my the background of my poster, I want it to be black. Okay, so now what I need to do is I need to come to my movie poster thing that I'm working on, my house, the spooky house, and I need to select all of it. So I'm going to go to select all here at the top, and then I'm going to go to edit, copy, and I'm going to come here to my background, and I'm going to go to edit, paste, and paste my picture in there. Now you can see when I do that, my house picture is way bigger than what I've set up. So I need to either hit Control T or edit free transform. Okay, and so when I do that, I basically just need to get my picture down to size is what I need to do. So I need to make it a little bit bigger here. And now you can see why I did the black smoke to kind of match up with the edges. Now I'm going to leave a lot of room up there and maybe a little bit of room down low because I'm going to be doing some title stuff up here since it is going to be a movie poster. Okay, now that I have got that in there, I'll hit enter. So I am done. Some people, I know I get kind of picky with this sometimes, where you can kind of tell that the blacks don't really match up. Again, what you can do with that, if you are real picky with it and you want your blacks to be perfect, you can do the little rectangular tool, and you can come here to your little eyedropper, which I don't think you guys have used. I can come to the eyedropper, and as you can see, when you click the eyedropper, it changes the color of stuff here. So it matches colors that are already in your photos. So if you're really wanting to try to match a certain color, that's what the eyedropper is for. I want to match this color, which I have just done. Now I'm going to go to my paint can, and when I click that in there, it fills that up, and now my blacks should match a little bit better. If you want to get rid of the little rectangular thing down here, then just go to select, deselect, and it gets rid of that for you. Okay, so that was just a little extra tip that might help you guys out. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to create another new image because we're going to do something kind of complex here. It's not hard, but a lot of people don't do this. We are going to create a brush. So we're going to create our own brush. So I'm going to create this image, and I'm going to go 1,000 by 1,000. We'll keep it at 300, and we'll keep it at white. That's what I want. And click OK. And what this does is this creates another blank canvas for us to work with. And what we're going to do here, I'm going to go to my circle or the elliptical marquee tool, and I want my feather to be at 75, and I'm just going to draw a really big circle here. Okay, then I'm going to come up to filter, render, and I'm going to go to clouds. Okay, and what this does is it gives me some clouds here. Now, if some of you might, when it comes in there, it may be different colors. Like let's say when it came in, it was black and red. So let me show you that real quick. Let me undo what I have done. So right now I have black and red selected. So when I go to filter, render, where the heck's render? Where is render? There it is. And I go to clouds. Now you see they come in with a red look. I don't want that look. Now some of you might if you're doing like a zombie poster or something like that. I don't know. But I want mine just to be kind of black with some white in it. So the way I had it at the beginning, filter, render, clouds, is what I want. So now that I have this, what I am going to do is I'm going to go to Edit, and where am I going to go? Edit Presets is what I want to go to. Define Brush Preset. So I'm going to go to Edit, Define Brush Preset, because basically what I'm doing is I'm making a brush out of this, and my brush number is 993. I can call it Cloudy Brush. Click OK. And now I've created a brush that will look like this. So I'm going to go back to my picture, which is right here, and I created this brush that I can match up this black a little bit uh, with the brush and kind of blend it in. So I'm going to go to my brush, which is right here, and as you guys are going to see, there's lots of, actually that's not the brush, that is the quick selection tool. The brush is here. You're going to see that there's all kinds of cool brushes you can use. To select different brushes, I go here and I can kind of go down, and then here's the brush I just created, as you can see. And so now as I click around, this kind of gives it a smoky kind of feel, which I think is kind of cool for the house. So I might do that, and then up here I might get a little more crazy with it, clicking to where it blends a little bit better. Okay, and so that's what we just did there with the whole creating a brush. So I think that's kind of cool. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit Control L again because I want to mess with my contrast. Okay, so I go to Control L, and this time I think maybe let's see what 40 looks like. Ooh, okay, yeah, I like that. So 40 kind of really darkens it up a little bit. I don't know, maybe I don't want to quite go to 40, maybe I go to 30 instead. And so now you can see it's kind of closing in on the house and kind of gives you I don't know, I think it gives it a more ominous feel, and if I want I can add, you know, yet more clouds around it if I'm feeling anxious like that. And look, I ended up almost covering up that tree anyway, so I guess I could have maybe cropped that out. Now what we want to do this is something similar that we did on the other one. If you guys did the other poster, is movie posters often have a bunch of writing down there, and so some of you may have noticed that I have this pitch black movie poster. What I'm going to do here, I'm going to go to my rectangular marquee tool, and I'm going to carefully select their text, and I'm going to go to Edit, Copy, and now I'm going to come here to my movie poster. I'm going to hit Edit, Paste, and now as you can see, I now have the movie words. And you're like, but Mr. Mo, that doesn't fit. You're right. So what do we need to do? What do we need to do? What do we need to do? What do we do? What do we do? Edit, Free Transform, or Control T. And now we just make it match what we have already done. And I don't think I want it quite that big. So there's that, and now you can see obviously it looks a lot clearer there. So that's good. And actually, I think I want to make that even a little bit smaller because I don't think I left quite enough room for the tagline to put something scary down there. So that's why you know you can always adjust. And as you can see, it's another layer, and there's the movie stuff down there at the bottom. Okay, so now what I am going to do, so I might create the tagline. So I'm going to go to my text here, and you can do, there's tons of different fonts and things like that that you guys can do with text. And so I'm going to go up here, and I'm going to go to, I like the Tagen or whatever the heck it's called. So I'll come down here and find that. Tagen Pro, we'll just go with that. Okay, and so now I can type here the creepy tagline. I don't want it to be this big. Okay, so that is way gigantor. So I'm going to come here and make it way smaller. Smaller even than that. So as you can see up here with my text, I can really mess with that and make it smaller. Sometimes you don't come out, is what we will call it. And we want this to be down with that as well. I don't remember what it was at, but having that S big kind of looks cool, I think. So maybe I'll leave the S a little bit bigger than the rest. So I think that was kind of cool. And then maybe I want one of the words to be red or something. So I can go here, go to red, click OK, and now that looks a little bit different. And then again, if I want to move it, I go to my move tool, make sure I have the right layer selected, and maybe I could do something kind of like that. Maybe I want this font to be white. You know, I just showed you guys how to change your font. Click on the T, highlight it, and then here's where you can change your text color if you want. Okay, so now we're almost done. Now we just need a title for our scary movie. I don't really know what to call it. So here, we'll call it, I'll start typing up here. So, and you can't see my text, and the reason you can't see my text is because it's being written in black, and we don't want it to be written in black, so I'll change it to white. So we'll say the, and then I like to, a lot of times when I'm doing this, separate my text out a little bit. The scary. So then I'm going to create another one. Click off of it. The Scary House. Pretty clever title, huh? On Elm. So we'll just call it The Scary House on Elm. Okay, and now you can see that I have a ton of different layers here. So if I want to mess with the, which I do, I would come over here, go to my font thing, and I'm going to leave it white, but I want to change the size of it. I want it to be a little bit bigger, I think. So maybe right in there is where I want that, and so I'm good with that. Now I'm going to come to scary, and I'm going to mess with scary just a little bit. I actually might move the just a little bit, so maybe I'm going to move the. So I go to my move tool, and maybe I move it, you know, to right there. Now I'm going to come to scary, and I want scary to be a little bit bigger than the. So maybe something like that, and I'm fine with where it's at. Now I'm going to go to house, and I want house. I want to change the color of house because I want it to focus on the house part of it. I want it to be red, and I want it to be quite a bit bigger. Okay, and then I'm going to go to my move tool and do like so. Okay, and then again, so obviously I'm going to need to move on, and I'm going to need to move Elm. But as you notice, I'm going over to my layers when I'm moving these. So let's go back to on. Let's mess with the font size because this is not looking super professional, but you guys get the point. I'm not gonna spend forever fixing all of this to make it perfect. Because I'm sure you don't want to sit here and keep listening to me babble on about stuff. So we'll just do it like this. Again, if I'm being picky, I would probably move all of these over a little bit so it's a little more centered, as I'm doing now, and maybe even space them out a little bit more. But anyway, you can have some fun with that. So there's my title, and I'm not quite done yet. We are going to do one other thing with brushes, okay? And now if you notice, there's a link on D2L that will take you to this place where you can get free brushes. I signed up for a free account, and you guys can do the same thing. On D2L, it's underneath this poster. I think it just says cool brushes or something like that. So you can go there, okay? And if you go there and you save your brushes, all right, because that's what I did, and I'll kind of show you this really quickly. So I saved the brushes, and then the brushes come to your computer. So I'm going to go to my computer. They go to wherever you saved them. And this is going really slow. And I believe I saved mine to my downloads, but I could be mistaken. As you can see, there's several songs there. Okay, I guess I didn't. Anyway, never mind. I was going to show you that, but I'm not now. So if you want to see that, if you want to know how to save the brushes, just come see me and I'll help you do it. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to my brushes. That's the history brush. See, sometimes I need to look at this stuff too. So I'm going to go to my brushes, and when I go to them, you can see, guys, there's all kinds of cool looking brushes that you guys can use. It's not just these big block out brushes that are out there. There's tons of them. And if I go to this little bolt here, you can load different brushes that you have. There's natural brushes, round, special effects. There's all kinds of different brushes you can do. I am just going to reset my brushes for a second. Okay, and so what that does, what the heck? I didn't really pay attention to what I was clicking. So let's try that again. Reset, replace current brushes with the default brushes. Okay, saved. Okay, so that's there. So now I replaced them. So it got rid of those custom brushes that I had done. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to load brushes. And so this is where I could run into some trouble because I need to find where it is I saved the brushes at. And I think I saved them in Photoshop. So let me find that. So, okay, so I'm going to go find my brushes here. So if you go here to load brushes, right, and so mine were saved here to my pictures. So if I click here, I can show you how to download different brushes. So I do that, I hit load, and then as you can see, I get different kinds of brushes that pop up. And it kind of has a splatter type look. I want it to be red to match. So okay, it's telling me my layer has to be rastered. Okay, and if that happens, you just click OK. And basically what that's saying is then you can't go back and edit the text. Now, as you can see, the splatter I've chosen is way too big. But that looks kind of cool. So I'm going to go here to the house, and I need to rasterize that too. So I've done that. And now what I can do is I can put little splatter things on it, which I think adds a lot. I may even put a couple in here. So that's kind of cool, if you ask my opinion. So there's a lot of really cool brushes that you guys can get to where you can do stuff like that. And this is going to ruin my poster, but you get the point. Like there's little things like that you can do. I'm going to undo that. That can add a lot to what you're doing. And that one's crazy. I don't want it that big. And it's just little things like that that can add some good touches to stuff that you might be doing. Okay, so anyway, that is that. I hope that you have enjoyed this, and I hope that you make a cool poster. Goodbye.